If you're like me and you play a bunch of video games, you've probably noticed something interesting. Everything's flat. But these flat models are all catching the light and reacting as if they have a limitless amount of polygons. So what's the reason for this? Why is it happening? Back in the day, most games used very primitive shapes for pretty much everything. And this worked for a very long time. But one of the major downsides to this is that everything ends up looking too polygonal. Remember Lara Croft? Sure, we can make models more detailed, but a truly detailed model can be thousands of polygons. And this isn't ideal. This, my friend, is where normal maps come in. Normal maps are a special kind of texture that allows you to add surface details such as bumps, grooves, and scratches to a model, which catch the light as if they're represented by real geometry. Now, rather than having a color range of black to white like most other texture maps, normal maps consist of red, green, and blue. These RGB values translate to X, Y, and Z coordinates, allowing a 2D image to represent depth. To break it down a bit, you can think of a normal map as a set of 3 grayscale textures stored on a single image, where the red channel indicates how the model looks lit from the right, the green channel indicates how it looks when it's lit from above and below, and the blue channel stores how light looks when it's lit head on. These normal maps are used everywhere in your favorite games to fake detail, like rocks, trees, metals, ground textures, characters, and even clouds use normal maps to add that extra level of depth to the assets. But you're probably wondering, how does this even work? And where do these normal maps come from? To understand that, let's learn about surface normals. To calculate how light is reflected on a model, your game engine draws a line perpendicular to its polygonal surface. This line is affectionately called a normal, not the best name. When light bounces off of the surface, it'll use its surface normal to calculate the resulting bounce and decide where the light goes. So when light hits a polygon, we compare the angle of the light ray to the normal of the polygon. The light will get bounced back using the angle relative to the normal's direction, and then boom, we have an accurately lit model. Normal maps take this a step further. By using a process called baking, which I'll talk about in another video, we can take that normal information of a highly detailed model like a rock and transfer that information into a 2D texture. Then this 2D texture is added to a low detail version of the rock. So light bounces on this low poly model as it would as if it was the high poly version. Magic. By taking the lighting information of high detail models and combining that with the performance of low detail models, games can fake an almost limitless amount of lighting information for very negligible performance cost. And that, my friend, is why everything is flat. Now, normal maps can be used for a lot of other video game magic. In my last video, I showed you how to make a convincing water shader by scrolling 2 normal maps in opposite directions to fake micro ripples you see on water surfaces. Actually, by the way, I've completely revamped my Patreon, so the full version of that tutorial and all my upcoming tutorials and projects in the future are just $5. So if you're more serious about learning game art, go check that out. Normal maps are also used in VFX. By isolating the green up and down channel, you can make the bottom of clouds glow when lightning strikes, or you can make smoke light up during an explosion, adding much needed depth and realism. One of my absolute favorite creative uses of normal maps is in the Street Fighter 6 trailer, which features some really impressive character models that have their muscles appear under the skin and bulge up when they're tensed and flexed. There isn't any crazy muscle rigging technology going on. On top of the character's skin is a normal map that is animated to fade in and out to make it look like Ryu's muscles are bulging. A creative and elegant solution to what would have been a very complex problem otherwise. Okay, this is pretty cool, but what if I told you there was a way to fake not just lighting information, but real depth? A way where you could fake entire buildings and fill them with thousands of furnished rooms that technically never exist at all. Well, there is a way to do that, and it's happening in a lot of games without you even realizing it. But that's gonna have to be another video. So yeah, normal maps are pretty cool.